In the mid-1960s, as Canada's equestrian team was continuing their quest to get to the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico City, their two biggest obstacles were money and experience.
Nobody thought that we could come out of the Aurora Horse Show and Hamilton Horse Show and compete with the Europeans. Well, we built courses that we needed there, and we had 2 or 3 course builders over from Europe that mimicked the courses over there, and thanks to Rothmans, we were able to build them and compete over them.
They were one of our big donors back in the mid-60s, leading right up to the 68 Olympics.
They supported us in 67 when we went to the Pan American Games, and it was Denny's dream to take us to the Olympics, and Rothmans backed them up and put their money there and supported us. That was it. Rothmans had done it, and we practiced over it, and then they had 3 guys that decided they couldn't be beat.
The afterglow of Canada's Olympic gold shone brightly all across the country. But when Jim Elder sat down with Rothmans president Wilmot Tennyson for lunch, even he could not have imagined what was coming next.
John Devlin and him had been talking, and they would like to pour more money into the sport. And not only just sponsor a Grand Prix just around Toronto, but they'd like to get a series across Canada. So he said, well, how much? He said, it's going to cost a lot of money. Oh, yeah, we're willing to put up until up to $1 million in the sport. I said, $1 million? What would you do that for? I mean, it just came out of my mouth on that, because before that, our Grand Prix were $1,000 and $1,500, maybe $2,500 at the very, very most. And he said, no. He said, you know what? You guys are one to go. I think, that this sport is going to take off.
So a deal was struck and a Grand Prix series was established coast to coast. It truly was the dawn of the golden age of show jumping in Canada.
They brought a structure, a sponsorship-type structure for the first time, because they gave us a series. And what people will tell you that really know about sports is a series has to have, it's like a novel or a movie. It has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And we didn't have that. It was just a series of one-offs, and not particularly well-funded one-offs. And Rothmans brought some what we considered at the time, very serious funding, and gave a storyline to the whole year.
We weren't in the town parks anymore. We were jumping in Varsity Stadium, East York Stadium, Exhibition Place, situations like that, and which all meant to educate our horses in front of big crowds, in front of a patch of grass that they'd never been on before. All those things which the Olympics throw at these horses, and we wanted to be better trained to handle them, to handle water jumps. We'd never even seen a water jump. Dry ditches, all those things that the Europeans, that happens in all their courses, we didn't have that opportunity.
The driving force behind Rothmans' involvement was their chairman, John Devlin.
He was a very elegant man who, just a real gentleman of the old school, just really enjoyed the sport and wanted to make a difference.
Outstanding people, again, a real lady and a real gentleman, and doing it for the right reasons. They weren't just doing it for business reasons, although I really hope it was good for business. They were doing it for the love of the sport.
There were Grand Prix all over the country, and as the 70s unfolded, the sophistication of the sport grew and grew.
They started out with little trailers for the judges to sit in, and eventually they came with a truck with a generator on it to help the horse show organize itself better. And eventually it evolved into these huge big travel caravans that had big generators in them, and places for the judges, places for the announcer, a total sound system.
Little things like timing equipment for the jump-off speed classes, jumps. They would bring in special coaches to help in certain areas. They were open to do anything they possibly could to help us achieve our goals.
Those are the kind of opportunities that I think, they would drive in a horse show and there would be some guy with a megaphone. Well, they said, well, let's go spend a lot of money, buy this, and have this rig built that's got in those days, state-of-the-art sound systems. So now that the public that was being attracted to our sport could actually hear what was going on, so they really helped step that up.
Rothmans was the lead sponsor of equestrian events in Canada right through the decade of the 70s. And it's safe to say that their legacy lives on in all the riders who benefited from their passion, their dedication, and their ability to change the course of an entire sport.
We do miss the name of Rothmans, and because you ask any horse guy in this country, and they'll tell you that without Rothmans, we were still going to be an amateur team, and not hit the big time.
I think without their sponsorship through those years, it wouldn't be what it is today.
Pioneer. They were the first one to partner with the concept of Grand Prix jumping and put the whole sport, the whole sport of show jumping into a manageable series that media, the public, everybody could get their mind around and understand. So in that sense, they were the foundation of what we see today.
Rothmans was the most significant factor. Without Rothmans, I don't know where we'd be.